one. Yeah, recording. Alright, works. Alright. Let's play. I had to be like really close to my mic. Alright. I actually have my audio pretty damn loud, so I'm gonna turn that down a bit. Ew, look at that photo. Why do people have that photo in their house? If I had that photo in my house, you know damn well I'll get rid of it. Hey, Ratatouille. You might want to check out this game. I'm gonna narrate to you guys. Come on, man. You gotta join this. It's an absolute banger. And you're probably gonna be in the video for what I'm gonna say. I mean, it is spooky. Wanna know what I have to do to survive? Or how to beat the game? You wanna know what I have to do to beat the game? Ready? Remy? Or Jelly? I don't know what I have to do to beat the game. I have to read. Yes, I know, reading in a game. But, like, apparently, I could actually read in the game. Yeah. Oh, no, not yet. Alright. It's not really FNAF related, but yeah, it's kind of FNAF related. You just gotta look at it. Midnight Evil. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Alright, y'all ready? You know what this game reminds me of? This game reminds me of the Boogeyman. You know that game? The Bogeyman or something? Reminds me heavily a lot about this. Oh, I can see my legs. Alright, I'm gonna read. Oh, alright. Long before the first humans stood upright, and took their place in the world, there was a beautiful land that was ruled by what many would come to call the Fae. These ancient beings were worshipped by mankind, but they were also feared by humans. Humans were right to be afraid, for there were many different creatures that would live in the darkness, watching us, waiting. Ooh, okay. Most were harmless enough, amusing themselves by causing mischief and playing pranks on humans. That crossed their path. However, the hell was that? However, some had more sinister intentions. The Urklings, for example, have developed a liking for the taste of human children. These monsters... Is that an Urk? What the hell is that? Yes, it knows what I'm reading. Because I have a microphone. If I didn't have a microphone, it would have narrated for me. These monsters are small, unnaturally fast, and impossible to kill. It was an unlucky tragedy for most people that we decided to build our village right here in the middle of the Urkling territory. Alright. Thought the door was opening for a second. We have lost so many of our children over the past year. There aren't enough tears in this world to weep for their losses. Or loss. Yeah, first page. Thankfully, through my grandmother taught me well in the ways of the druid ancestors. I may not be able to kill the little beast, but I was able to work out a spell that binds them to this book. I can only hide it and pray, that it never falls into the hands of a child. Did it not count? I can only hide it and pray that it never falls into the hands of a child. There we go. Final lyrics. If you're reading this, know that I'm truly sorry for the demons that you have now been passed on to you. Opening the book will have awakened them, and I'm sure they will be ravenously hungry. Ooh, nice. Once the book is open, you must read it out loud from the beginning to the end in order to return them to their magical prison. Be watchful. They only attack if you don't see them. Most importantly, once you finish this book, keep it hidden again so no one ever opens it again. There we go.
WIGS FM 98.7 Game Talk.
I got that narrator voice.
Darkness.
Well, not a narrator voice, not like the guy from the YouTube videos, but I got a voice. Calm-ish.
We answer game questions.
Just turns it off. Ooh, alright. This is alright. Alright, you guys ready for me to read the next part? I'm gonna go until I just... Alright. Little Maggie. Oh, fuck. I don't know what that says. Little Maggie something. Oh, it just... Was the first... was the children have been playing in the Hogan's forest when they all heard a noise, sensing no danger because there were so many of them. 12 children, and all decided to investigate the source of the strange sound. As they searched high and low, they soon realized Maggie was missing. Frantically, they began searching for their friend. She was a small girl who loved to play hide and seek. Her big brother, Colin, insisted that she was probably hiding somewhere safe and giggling to herself as she watched everyone search for her. Did that not count or something? Do I have to read that again? Oh, God. Her big brother Colin insisted that she was probably hiding somewhere, safe and giggling to herself as she watched everyone search for her. There we go, finally. Just gonna take a quick look. The sun sank low in the sky, and the forest grew dark. The children, frustrated and panicked, ran back to the village to alert their parents that little Maggie was nowhere to be found. Excuse me, what? You saw me read that. I don't know, man. I mean, you could hear my microphone pretty well. Alright, well, I'm gonna read it again. The children, frustrated and panicked, ran back to the village to alert their parents that little Maggie was nowhere to be found. There you go, knock that up. Get out of here. That's when everyone lit torches and spread out through the woods, calling her name. It actually worked. No way. The little girl's mother sobbed desperately as we all inspected every corner of those woods in hopes of finding her. Her big brother kept searching, tears streaming down his cheeks. Oh, brother, he can't even protect his sister. Her brother kept searching, tears streaming down his cheeks. I'm her brother, he said, rubbing his eyes. I'm supposed to make sure nothing happens to her. Get out of here. I saw you pop up. It's not your fault, Colin, I assured him. You'll find her soon, as she'll be no worse for the wear. Aller nodded. He nodded and forced a smile. We all continued looking for the moment I heard him scream. The moment I heard him scream, I knew he had found her, or rather, what's left of her, which wasn't much. we were sure that it was Maggie because she had worn her favorite pink hair bow that day. I'm messing up so much. I have to read that again. I messed up so much. The moment I heard him scream, I knew he had found her, or rather, what's left of her, which wasn't much. What the or what's rather left? What's oh my god? Or rather, what's left of her, which wasn't much. We were sure that it was Maggie because she had worn her favorite hair bow that day. Excuse me, I just knocked that out. Take a quick glance around the room real quick. Or rather, what's left of her, which wasn't much. Alright, I had to read it one at a time. We were sure it was Maggie because she had worn her favorite hair bow that day. There we go. Finally. Her father plucked the pink ribbon from the body, and fell to his knees, wailing into the darkness. Excuse me, I read that. Her father plucked the pink ribbon from the body, and fell to his knees, wailing into the darkness. Yeah, there we go. I just gotta read a bit more dramatically. Maggie just died. No, they were in the forest, and then she just died. Like, no even choice. Poor Colin tried to tell us. Then he saw that she had been covered in what he described as little green men. He said that she had been covered in what he described as little green men. There we go. They were fat and green, he stammered, with big glowing eyes. They were biting off bits of her skin and flesh. Hey. No one believed the lad. We all attribute to the... Get out of here! We all attribute the horrible ordeal to a hungry wild animal off the course. Of course, what else could it possibly be? Scooping up what remained of little Maggie, the townsfolk set to work preparing her for her funeral. We had no idea the horrors that laid ahead. Alright, I'm gonna ask you guys, how do you think my narrating skills are? I mean, I mess up sometimes, but how do you think my narrating skills are? Eight? What do you mean? I only stammer like 2 times. Alright, back to reading. I thought to myself, how strange. Her wounds looked... oh my god. I couldn't help but think back to what Colin had said about the little green men. It made me think to the stories my grandmother used to tell me. She said that our druid ancestors spoke of tiny little creatures that lived long ago in the swamps and the marsh surroundings our land. The Urklings, she called them. The Urklings, she called them. There were 3 tribes, each being their own breed of evil. One tribe, I recall, she said, were green and fat. They would lure children away from safety and feast on their flesh. One tribe, I recall, she said, were green and fat. They would lure children away from safety and feast on their flesh. We didn't live. Oh my god. I said leave. I said leave. I meant to say live, not leave. We didn't live near any swamps. Surely the boy mind was playing tricks on him. Besides, the Urklings weren't real. They couldn't be. Get out of here. Little green men. Little fat green men. There we go. Chapter 2. Maggie's Orban's funeral was just what anyone would expect. Everyone did their best to comfort the grieving parents. Colin kept to himself. Everyone assumed it was because he blamed himself after his sister. Everyone assumed it was because he blamed himself after his sister. After his sister had been laid to rest, I came to ask him, how is he doing? After his sister had been laid to rest, I have came to ask him, that worked? No, it didn't work. He looked up at me, eyes red from either crying of lack of sleep. Okay. He looked up at me, eyes red from either crying, lack of sleep, or the combination of two. I don't know what's going on. He looked up at me, eyes red from either crying, lack of sleep, or the combination of the two. He looked up at me. What? What? He looked up at me. Is it gonna mark it? He looked up at me. He looked up at me. Eyes red from either crying, lack of sleep, or the combination of the two. He looked up at me. Eyes red from either crying, lack of sleep, or the combination of the two. What? Oh my god. Alright, can you hear me clearly, game? Can you hear me clearly? He looked up at me, eyes red from either crying, lack of sleep, or the combination of the two, and said, I really saw the little green monsters. It finally registered. My heart ached as I put my arms around the boy. I accidentally looked over there. Not gonna lie, I accidentally looked over there. Boy. I kept telling myself that seeing his little sister in pieces could not have been easy for him. He was in shock.
Mining in the cave, and then I hear a scary noise. What should I do if there's a creep?
Dude, I can't really. I actually need to. This game is 4-year-old. Why don't you read it then? Exactly, you actually can't read it. Dude, just don't put anything on. I need to listen to these freaking goblins. Also, because sound cues in this game are really, really important. The stories of the Earthlings were only told to scare children into doing what they are told. That was all. I didn't even have to read the last part, but I did. Yeah, but they're really important for me. The first thing my grandmother told me was about the Earthlings was that there were 3 tribes. Which actually kind of sucked. 3 tribes. What do you expect? The green ones had round bellies and piercing blue eyes. She said they could be heard if you walked deep into the swamps at night. I saw you, you little green monster. They would laugh and sing as they danced around their tiny campfires, which would appear as tiny flickering lights through the trees. They would laugh and sing as they danced around their tiny campfires, which would appear only as tiny flickering lights through the trees. They were the least lethal of the three tribes. They were the least lethal of the three tribes, but every oh my god, I'm stuttering so much at the end right there. But every bit as evil. There we go. I didn't even have to read that. I just wanted to. Just make sure the little green goblins are here. Alright. The red ones were more temperamental and even faster than their green cousins. They didn't sing or dance around campfires. Their celebrations were a bit more gruesome. They prefer to eat children from the inside out. Damn, what is this story? How long is this story? It was even thought by some that they were only red because they were stained by the blood of their victim. Oh, I'm gonna turn up my microphone volume. Is that better? Is that better? Alright, that's better. Alright, hold on, I gotta check for stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. Literally, you guys can't hear me. You literally can't hear the story if I don't even say anything. Oh yeah. Actually, I'll be right back. I gotta like close my door real quick. Alright, so I had to... Alright, just so you guys can hear me, I had to turn up my mic sensitivity. Now you might be wondering, why the hell would you do that? So you guys can hear me a bit better. Anyways, back to reading. Fiery red, bristles like hair sprouted from the tops of their heads, and their glowing yellow eyes seemed cold and calculating. Just knocked down a whole paragraph right there. The pale Urklings were in another class altogether. They had white skin and wild, untamed blue hair that flowed out of every direction. You're about to see why. You're about to see why. And once I'm finished reading the book, you're about to see why it summons these dumb little green, red, and white men. They had white skin, a wild, untamed blue hair that flowed out in every direction. I just got to get to the end of the book. No. You're about to find out. Look, this game tells you why, but like at the end of the book, it tells you why and how they were summoned here, and why the book summons them in the first place. I'm trying to turn on my microphone volume. Maybe that, yeah. Can you? Alright, is that better? Like, is it not too loud? I'm not even gonna wait for your answer. I'm just gonna start reading. The most unsettling thing about them was that they had no eyes at all, yet they somehow were the most keen and effective killers of the three. Saw you. This is like a story you could tell your children. Grandmother said that there were long, wiry hair could somehow sense the presence and location of children. You can't hear me? Well, that's... I don't know. Try turning up my user volume. Maybe that will help you. Yes, my user volume. I said user volume. Like, click on my account and you can turn up my volume or mute, lower my volume if I'm talking too loud. Alright. It's not that muffled, man. It's not that muffled. Alright, I'm gonna go back to reading. There's some things that all three tribes had in common. Earthlings preferred to eat after midnight. And they would only attack if the children didn't make direct eye contact with them. Knock the whole page out. Oh, you know what? I'm just turning on my mic sensitivity. It's your fault if you guys are... Alright, I'm gonna turn this down a bit. Maybe that... Yeah, perfect. Turn this up a bit. Alright, is that better for you guys? Is that better for you guys? Like, real better or worse? Alright, I just had to turn on my microphone. Actually, I could just, I'm gonna turn this up a bit. Like, just, yeah, perfect. That's perfect. Okay. I'm not even in the first word. I reassured myself that the Brian girl being attacked barely after sunset meant that they... I reassured myself that the O'Brien girl being attacked barely after sunset meant that she had to have been the victim of a wild animal attack. Alright. A few of the men in the village came together to hunt down the beast that killed the girl. Little green man. I don't know what I just saw right there. They came back 2 days later, carrying the carcass of a large wolf. What the fuck was that? The whole village breathed a sigh of relief, and a big celebration was held. There's the wolf. I'm gonna tell you, this author has really good writing. And no, hold on. What do you mean men? In the village, probably. Like whoever this author is, they have pretty good writing. Not writing, pretty good drawing. Look at that photo of a wolf. You cannot tell me that's good drawing. Look at that. Excuse me. Why is my heart beating fast? Alright. The only one besides myself that remained anxious was Colin. Looking at his face that night, I knew he had believed the little creatures that... this is the last page again. The only one besides myself that remained... The only one besides myself that remained anxious was Colin. Looking at his face the night, I knew he had to believe that the creatures that killed Maggie were still out there and waiting. He was right. See?
WIGSFN 98.7
WIGSFN. Big explosions.
Hello, darkness.
This ain't your granny show.
Welcome to the...
I wonder what this evil midnight game is. You know? I wonder what this evil midnight game is. Anyways, back to reading. The next day, Maggie's mother visited her daughter's grave, discovering something that was more than a little strange. The earth on the grave was disturbed, as if something had crawled its way out. Something's here. I couldn't help but remember what Grandma had said about the red Urklings. I couldn't help but remember what Grandmother had said about the red Urklings. You just opened my door. Close that. Get out of here, gremlin. They would burrow inside their victims and eat their way out. Saw you. Could it be that we brought a whole tribe of them right into the village without even knowing it? The answer would come soon enough. The whole page then. Jacob McLaurin. How do you say that name? Jacob McLaurin. Jacob McLaurin. Right? Jacob McLaurin. Jacob McLaurin was found torn to shreds in his bed the following morning. Yeah, it was Jacob McLaurin. Obviously, a wild animal hadn't attacked them in his house. Can I not experience a heart attack every 2 seconds? Obviously, a wild animal hadn't attacked them inside his house. There you go. You know, I'm kind of... Another devastating family and another funeral. Another devastating family and another funeral. This soon after Maggie didn't sit... Can you stop having a heart attack, game? Another devastated family and another funeral. This soon after Maggie didn't sit well with anyone. Another devastated family and another funeral. This soon after Maggie didn't sit well with anyone. Yeah, why doesn't he do that? Like, there's no... Like, I read the book before. And why don't you just read it in the morning or the afternoon? Why always at night? You know they attack... Wait, actually, no. I think he's more safer to read it at night. Because, hold on. Yeah, look, hold on. If he reads it during the day... Just gotta make sure. If he reads it during the day... And he what if he forgets about it? Like, what if he does, like, you know... Like, what is he gonna do? Like, what is he gonna do after midnight? Is he gonna go to sleep? I don't think he can. Because the Urklings will kill him. So he has to stay up the whole day and night. Probably at night. I don't know. I don't know what he does. I'm not this kid. But yeah, it never specifically says when you can read it. He kind of just does when he wants to. The atmosphere became even more tense and more uncomfortable. No. You could hold off as long as you can to read the book. You won't die as long as you make direct eye contact with them. That's what the book said itself. Wait a second. If I open this book, doesn't that mean I'm cursed? Have you ever heard of sleep insomnia, Remy? or jelly. Yeah, have you ever heard of sleep insomnia? I mean, yeah, literally you can't stare at a book forever though. I mean, like, no, probably like once he gets to like more adult-ish, like, you know, like probably to like 21 or something, they like 18. Probably the Urkelings will probably not attack him anymore, since he's not really a children. Or no, probably if he was like 14 or something, like a bit older than like 8, 9, or 10, 8, 9, or 10, the Urkelings won't probably attack him anymore because he's technically not a child anymore. Well, he still is a child, but like probably a teen. If like, I don't know. I don't know. That's just me though. But then again, if he doesn't finish the book, the Urklings might attack other people. You never know. That's it. That's something good. Alright, let me finish reading my book. I insisted on expecting Jacob remains myself. I insisted on myself to inspecting Jacob's remains myself, just to reassure myself that there was nothing hiding inside. There we go. I gotta read my book. You guys can like talk while I'm reading my book. Colin approached me afterwards, asking what I was looking for. I told him it was nothing, but he knew better. I told him it was nothing, but he knew better. Which kid? There's like a bunch of kids. Maggie, Lauren, or Colin? Oh, the mid kid? Yeah, he probably can't be. He's probably not stupid. You know. Look, hold on. They brought red Urklings into the base, right? They brought red Urklings to the base, and everyone was asleep by then, right? So once this kid woke up, no, once the parents woke up, he died. He was not even alive. He just fell asleep. Oh no, you're talking about the main character. I thought you were talking about the Mick kid, like the Mick Lauren kid. Hold on, let's look around his room. Look, I have time. Let's look around his room. Let's see how old he is. Depending on what we're looking in the room, let's see how old he is. So we got toys right there. Just making sure no one's here. Stars right here. He has school because you can see a backpack right there. His parents gave him a radio, surprisingly. I mean, you kind of can if you back up far enough, but like, that's not gonna work. I'm reading my book. Oh, not yet, actually. I had to do something. You believe me about the monsters, don't you? You believe me about the monsters, don't you? What the f- You believe me about the monsters, don't you? His young face was determined as he spoke. You're the only one that doesn't look at me like I'm crazy. Oh my god, you scared me. The green little goblin just appeared out of nowhere and scared me. Look, you saw that I was looking directly at him. He just popped up, so like, hey bitch, and then just ran away. Cause you're a child. Duh. They're basically predators. Actually, yeah, now that I think about it, aren't they predators? They feast on children. They enjoy little kids. They enjoy the taste of little kids. I actually might cut this part out right now. Out of like when I'm editing this video, I might cut this part out. All right, I'm back to reading. I swallowed hard and started to deny it, but the words caught my throat. As much as I tried to, I couldn't lie. Listen, I put my hands on his shoulders. I don't think you're crazy, but we need to be sure what we're dealing with before we spark a full-blown panic. Tell me exactly what happened. I put my hands on his shoulders. I don't think you're crazy, but we need to make sure. We need to be sure, not make sure. It's be sure. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I put my hands on his shoulders. I don't think you're crazy, but we need to be sure of what we're dealing with before we spark a full-blown panic. You know, I don't think this game likes my narrating. Listen, I put my hands on his shoulders. I don't think you're crazy, but we need to be sure what we're dealing with before we spark a full-blown panic. Tell me exactly what happened. Colin takes a deep breath. Took a deep breath. Not Colin takes a deep breath, he took a deep breath. Colin took a deep breath, working up his nerves. It was so dark, but I had a good torch. I called her name over and over. She did not answer. Then, I heard something. It sounded like chewing. What the fuck was that? The red Earthlings are here. He's like, hey, what are you reading? I took a few more steps and saw her lying there, all over. All over her were these fat little green monsters. They probably start at the stomach. If I were to guess, they start at the stomach. They tear their way through the stomach, because the stomach of every animal and living thing in this world is quite vulnerable. So they probably start at the stomach and then work their way up or something. If I were to guess. They had mouthfuls of pointy teeth that looked like needles and massive clawed hands. Just then, a twig snapped under my foot, and they all stopped what they were doing and looked right at me. Yeah, Kay left. He left. It's been a while. It's been like a long time since he left already. Just then, a twig snapped under my foot, and they all stopped what they were doing and looked right at me. That's when I screamed, and they scattered. Boom! Got that knocked. Oh god, my thing lagged. They were all gone before any of the grown-ups got to me. They were all gone before any of the grown-ups got to me. They were gone before any of the grown-ups got to me. I swear, this game probably hates my narrating. You can't really shoot them. They tried to kill the thing once. It doesn't work. I know they tried to kill the thing in the book. It doesn't work. Wait, why don't you just burn the book? That's the real question. Why don't you just burn the book? Like, instead of trying to kill the thing and sealing the magic and stuff, why don't you just burn the book? Oh wait, because that probably released their seal. His eyes filled with tears at the memory. His eyes filled with tears at the memory. His eyes filled with tears at the memory. Please, tell me what they were. They are. Get out of here. There's multiple of them, you know. There's actually, hold on. If you were listening to me read the book, I know you have been, because I've been reading this to you. If you would know that there's multiple of them, multiple green little men, white little men, red little men. There's multiple of them. There's tons, buttloads. You know there's a bunch of them. There's no way you can fit all of them in one box. And also, how are you gonna even grab one? That's the real question. How are you gonna grab one? They know, they run fast, probably. If I were to guess, they run pretty fast. I'm surprised no one has came through the window yet. He was no more than 11 or 12, having just lost his sister and now his friend. No one had believed in him. No one had believed in him. When he tried to tell us before. What the hell? Get out of here! Get out of here! It couldn't have been easy, but he opened up to me. There you go, got it. It couldn't have been easy, but he opened up to me. I felt it. Only right. I felt it was only right that I tell him what I knew. We sat together by the bonfire late into the night, as I told him all the stories, unfortunately. Just gotta make sure no one's around. Unfortunately, the one thing my grandmother hadn't mentioned was how to get rid of them. Don't they do some voodoo magic stuff about this too? Unfortunately, the one thing my grandmother hadn't mentioned was how to get rid of them. I thought the poster looks like an Arkling. Looking into the flames, I got an idea. I knew that. You know, I probably shouldn't have spoken. This guy is gone. I knew that most unholy creatures were repelled by fire. Well, Colin folded his arms. No, I should probably have read that better. Well, Colin folded his arms. Well, Colin folded his arms. Well, Colin folded his arms. We will just have to test what happens. You will just have to test what happens to the Earthlings when it's on fire. Hey, I read that page. You gonna turn it? Well, Colin folded his arms. We'll just have to test what happens to an Earthling when it's on fire. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working. Well, Colin folded his arms. We'll just have to test what happens to an Earthling when it's on fire. Is it not gonna turn the page? I don't know. Please turn the page. Please turn the page to page 32. Actually, no, turn the page to page 27, kid. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. What if you did get in a helicopter? Yeah, I don't even think they can. But like, how are you gonna get the money for a helicopter? Alright, tell the government this. Oh, look. Tell me if this sounds believable. Help me, government, help me. You are these little green, red, and white men trying to kill me from the and the only way to stop them is to just read this book. I need to get in an airplane and fly really high so I can read this book. Please help me. Does that sound believable to you? Does that sound believable? This book broke. Well, Colin folded his arms. You just have to test what happens to the Earthlings when it's on fire. We'll just have to test what happens to an Earthling when it's on fire. Finally. I don't know what. Oh boy, it's the third night. I don't know. What chapter is this? Chapter 4. I'm gonna read one more chapter, alright? And then that's gonna be it for today. I'm not gonna read the whole book in one sitting. It's been... Actually, I could. You guys want me to read the whole book in one sitting? Alright, this is gonna be the last chapter then. 4 chapters max. We'll start recording on the next one soon. It's not today. And then I also gotta edit this video, so yeah. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings. Colin wanted to tell his friend. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. If anyone knew my grandmother had passed down her druid teachings, it would have only... Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. If anyone knew that my grandmother had passed down her druid teachings, it would have only take one person to scream, "Witch!" and I would have been good as dead. He agreed and kept my secret. And it didn't work. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. Is this game not gonna register it? Yeah, look, see, it's all in one sitting. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings. And my thing's back on. Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. If anyone knew my grandma had passed down her druid teachings, Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Earthlings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. What the hell? Is it not gonna register? You know what? Well, I'm not reading this because it won't let me read it for some reason.
Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Erklings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. If anyone knew that my grandmother had passed down her druidic teachings, it would only... Colin wanted to tell his friends about the Erklings, but I begged him to keep it a secret. If anyone knew that my grandmother had passed down her druidic teachings, it would only take one person to scream, "Witch," and I would be as good as dead. He agreed and kept my secret.
See, it works better if I don't read it.
I mixed a potion that would catch fire when touched by the tiniest flame.
This is literally the last chapter. Come on.
Surely this would send it screaming to the underworld. He sat quietly in his bed and waited, knowing he mustn't look them in the eye. He must let it attack, for this would be the only way to get close to it.
They're getting aggressive.
Just after the stroke of midnight, he began to hear them chuckling and shuffling around in the dark. Clutching the potion bottle, hands trembling, he lowered his gaze and braced himself. Sure enough, one of them leapt from his bookshelf and sank its teeth into the flesh of his arm.
Yeah, you goblin.
He screamed and unstopped the bottle, emptying the contents over the green Erkling. It tore a tiny round chunk from his arm and gulped it down just as Colin shoved a candle right into its face. It tore a tiny round chunk from his arm and gulped it down just as Colin shoved a candle right into its face. It lit up like a torch and made a horrific, high-pitched scream as it ran around the room trying to put itself out. The curtains caught fire as 4 more Erklings sprung out from their hiding places. Colin ran outside, screaming and cradling his blood-soaked arm. His parents soon joined him outside in a panic, trying to figure out what had happened. Just then, a tiny fireball came racing through the doorway and zigzagged towards the woods.
Woods.
I grabbed an empty glass jar from my cupboard and ran after it. The jar made a thunk sound as it landed over the flaming Erkling, and the fire quickly went out. To my horror, this thing wasn't dead. It didn't even look like it was dying.
Little monster.
Though blackened from the being set ablaze, it was just as spunky as ever.
It looks like they actually captured one with a glass jar.
I quickly scooped up the jar and screwed the lid on. As I made my way back, some of the villagers were trying to put out the fire inside the house, and others were tending to Colin's arm, telling him that it must have been a rat.
Big chunk.
"I've never seen a rat quite like this," I shouted, and held the jar up high so everyone could see.
Alright, so I basically given up on narrating this story. Well, I'm gonna narrate it more like tomorrow, but like I given up on narrating this chapter because it just wouldn't register the first lines I said.
The instant they all looked in my direction, their jaws dropped open, and Colin's face lit up for the first time since he'd lost his sister. He knew everyone finally saw that he had been telling the truth all along, and they all felt terribly ashamed for not believing him in the first place. Unfortunately, the joy of this small victory was short-lived. For over the next 3 days, we tried every method we could think of to kill the little wretch, but no matter what horrific thing we did, it wouldn't die.
Alright, so there's your answer if we could die.
WIGS.
God. Well, alright. It's time to do the outro. Let me just put this back to what I was doing. Yes. Alright. That'll be all for this video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Kill yourself. Check your mailbox for a pipe bomb. Make sure you check under your bed, because, you know, the Earthlings might be under there, you know. Anyways, see y'all later, idiot. Bye-bye.